don't know how many players played on the ladder, but top 4 were guaranteed to make it, and LucifroN's one of them. He is the big favorite going into this. He was really good at StarCraft 2, LucifroN was. Really good at Warcraft 3. At one point, kind of overtook Grubby to become the best in the world, especially the best in Europe with Orc. Heroes of the Storm joined like one of the best teams with his brother. And AoE 4, he's a guy that's been topping tournaments since day one as well. Like, he is a RTS vet, an RTS emperor. Like, this is going to be so damn hard for Kelazhur, despite still being a very decent StarCraft 2 player. He's against a legend right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's so far the only map one of the ladder qualifiers has dropped was Kiwian playing Vanguard on Jagged Moor and kind of messing up the Siege Camp build. Other than that, they've just dominated, right? Parting 2-0, Vortex 2-0, Kiwian with a very strong 2-1. Even though he lost the map, the other two maps were very dominant in his favor. So LucifroN comes in as a big favorite. If Kelazhur can put up a good fight, I'll be really excited for him. But we definitely saw him struggling to sometimes gain the map control and that sort of stuff. We'll see. I wonder, Probe was really in Kelazhur's face. I wonder if LucifroN's going to be a bit more macro-oriented or aggressive. I do like it when the players kind of swap between the styles. Sometimes they fast expand, sometimes they go for a dog opening, and then also alternating, let's just play Lancer into Exo, or let's go straight for the Hornets first. I want to see if LucifroN's mixing it up as much as, for instance, Probe and Kiwian did, or if he's going to be more of like I have one really good macro style that I'm perfect at.
Yeah, definitely. Like, when it came to Warcraft 3, he had one thing that he was amazing at, and in Warcraft 3, he didn't need to divvy it up. StarCraft 2, he was very good about knowing a lot. So, and AoE 4 as well. He's also good at just being very well-rounded and very smart about how he does things. Very good micro. So I'm not going to rule anything out for him. I just feel that LucifroN's a very scary player to go up against in general. And Vanguard against Infernals, we've seen very different approaches, but yeah, Probe so far showcased a lot of builds, and LucifroN, he is absolutely the kind of guy that will look at that, study everything very calmly. He'll admit when something's better than his and just consume it and absorb it himself. I'm just excited here, Biggie.
Heck yeah, as you should be. We've got ourselves LucifroN in the top right side, Kelazhur in the bottom left. Kelazhur, of course, representing Brazil, LucifroN Spain. Kelazhur is currently residing over in the Netherlands, though, has been for quite a few years. So should be both playing on very low ping, which means the micro for both sides going to be, at that peak level. We've seen a lot of cross-server games today. People all over the world seeing two guys on the same server should be fantastic. Now, I really want to see kind of how the players evolve this and exactly what approach LucifroN has, especially because we already saw Kelazhur yesterday. And what has LucifroN hidden? He was very secretive with his builds, wasn't sharing replays leading into this tournament. LucifroN is a bit of an enigma, and this is our first look at what he's got in store.
Absolutely. I think Kelazhur might be in Hungary or Bulgaria at this point. I'm not entirely sure.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You can't keep these StarCraft 2 players down, They're just absolute Casanovas here, there, and everywhere. But it will be the Bob boost over here, so builds the expansion very quickly. No guys on Therium until now, so he switches 4 off in the main, 4 to build the natural, and 4 to go to the Therium. Nice, neat, and tidy so far from LucifroN, and a very quick expansion from Kelazhur, all things said and done.
Yeah, Gaunts are now out, dropping some infests and some shots on the dog. Dog has to run away. And the expansion, as you said, is on the way. Gonna get the second production facility as Kelazhur. LucifroN's expansion already up, and we should see the barracks going down. Oh no, he's going hangar. So he's upgrading his main to tier 2, and he's gonna go straight for the hangar immediately. So quick Hornets. I mean, we've seen that opening. It fell flat one time, right? And it didn't even fall flat. Kiwian still won that game, but there was one game where Kiwian kind of lost a bunch of them to Shadow Flyers. Pretty much, I guess there was the parting map as well. There was the parting map where he kept all of his Gaunts alive with Doombringer micro, popping them in and out of the Doombringer. Other than that, though, we have seen probably 2 out of 3 games where the Hornets have just dominated with their harassment. And it's going to be interesting to see if there's any scouting, because Kelazhur played very turtley yesterday. And if he doesn't get Fiends across to scout early, realize what's happening, he's not going to have the air tech to build those Shadow Flyers that usually you need to deal with it. So far, Parting's the only guy who's defended the Hornets with just Gaunts and a Doombringer.
Yeah, it certainly is. And LucifroN on his side of things gets that hangar very close to the edge of his base here. That, maybe we'll see if it can bite him in the butt a little bit later on, but he's very aware of what Kelazhur's been making and where he's going with it. He's not got a one-track mind, does LucifroN. Does have a barracks as well. And we've seen a lot of these combos where it's like, I get a lot of Hornets out, I get a lot of Lancers, because what can deal with the Hornets? Well, it is a large amount of Gaunts and those flyers that we've seen.
Ooh.
But getting the Lancers out will definitely help a lot too, and allow you to creep on the map.
I think LucifroN forgot his habitat. He got supply blocked. He couldn't build his first Hornet. He had it rallied to the speed camp. He wanted to catch Kelazhur in the middle of taking the speed camp. Habitat's up. Okay, there we go. It does come out now. Maybe he wasn't supply blocked. I could be wrong on that, but because he does have the expansion up. But I thought it wasn't producing. Looks like maybe there is no production animation on the hangar just yet. Great shield pop. He's going to take out 2 Gaunts. This is the problem that we saw in a lot of the non-Parting games. Parting was the only guy who dealt with this with really sick micro. But with no Doombringer here yet at the 4-minute mark, there's nowhere to hide those Gaunts. And they do get shot down. Oh my gosh, it's a massacre.
It really is. This guy is just like a Banshee on crack that can also shoot up. Okay. Some Fiends did try and get some damage done in the natural by LucifroN. But if you're... so everything's so smooth and clean out of him. Like the Bob usage, getting the veterancy upgrade, not overextending. And I got that shield with the bubble as well was very, very nice out of him.
Beautiful play so far. We've got the solar habitat plus 25% production speed on that hangar. Great usage there of the units. And LucifroN, zero fear, is hanging around on the front with that weak veterancy Hornet. I think that's a bad move, honestly. I think there's no reason to risk losing your Hornets. Get them out of there. And there we go. Notice when the Hornets aren't attacking, after a few seconds, they get those little stripes behind them. That means they speed up. I think it's about a 25% speed boost. And he is going to send his weakest Hornet home to heal up. But he's not using Return to Hangar just yet. I think he finally... No, yeah, he's... LucifroN doesn't want to go heal. He wants to, like, be really in his opponent's face, but... Oh, did he just pick up flowers with that? Wait. You can use flowers on air units? I didn't even know you could do that.
LucifroN's a better man than both of us combined at this point, isn't he? And
yeah,
I realized this as well with the cooldown on Return to Hangar. Not using it for as long as you can does mean that you can be more active and... the Gaunt! That was a big deal, but LucifroN now does return home. And this is going to be actually very tricky for Kelazhur to get across the map if he's just being met by these Hornets. Very nice.
To be fair, I don't know if you want to go across the map. I think you just want to defend the Hornets with it. I think if you try to force this, you're probably going to get shot down.
Oh, that was so close to those dying there. So damn close. All right, Kelazhur, he's like, you know what? I'm right next to this resource camp. Might as well go for it. I'm getting 3 bases set up and running as well. I think LucifroN, maybe he's going to think about getting a turret over here, just get the repair going as well. Oh, he's just going to do it with Bobs.
Yeah, he manually repairs. I don't like that hangar placement, because if an army comes up, if he returns to hangar, they're going to be stuck exposed over the cliff. You hinted at that earlier, right?
Yeah,
you were saying, I wonder if the placement's going to bite him in the butt. It's also awkward to repair there. And it's awkward to get even a sentry post to repair there. So it's a bit awkward. On the other hand, he's not gone to hangar. He's already building like barracks. He's got a 3rd base up. So after these initial Hornets, I do think LucifroN's going to go for a barracks explosion. I doubt he tries to go straight to mech base. If he tries to go straight Vulcan, that's an incredibly greedy build, but I'd be very impressed if he pulls it off. We'll have to wait and see. As for now, LucifroN says, it's okay, Hornets keep me safe, and I'm just going to build a big economy.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there is a mech bay up. I think you pointed that out. And, what's in this drop? Is this going to be
Atlas drop on a Vulcan drop
Vulcan
already?
drop. That's so
Wow.
cool. I mean, on the low ground, and I think it can hit the workers from there, and that's exactly
it's
what's
hitting the
going
workers and the tower, I think, at the same time with its splash damage. Wow, that's huge.
And, I mean, this kind of play here, this is like... You know, this might be the first time that Kelazhur ever went up to something like this. It's like, oh my goodness, this is way better than I thought it was going to be.
Oh, this is huge, man. This is massive damage. And he's put the Sky Mine there with the evac. So the evac, the transport, can put a Sky Mine. That got shot down by the Gaunt. But if the Doombringer went too close to it, it would have blown up on it. The bubble on the Vulcan. 1-man army. Oh, my lord. And returning to hangar with those Hornets as they get low. Trying to get rid of the Doombringer. Dude, has LucifroN lost a unit in this game? Okay, first one just died to Infest. 1 Hornet has died. Nothing else has died yet. And he has killed so much. This is basically the perfect Vanguard versus Infernal game, We said LucifroN would be
Ooh.
good, but I did not expect this much, like, just powerful dominance.
Yeah, and I mean, the Vulcan did eventually die, but this was a really cool build. I mean, the fact that he did all this while mapping behind it, and it was just like cool tech out of him, right? Really cool tech out of him. Kelazhur isn't down and out just yet. He is on 3 bases. He's got lots of Shroud Stones up as well. Lots of meat farms, by the way, on that base. But he has to be careful, like, because this Vulcan, I mean, we see, okay, uses this Super Stone there, but again, LucifroN's just going to reposition, keep on dealing damage.
Just being forced into like the mass static doesn't feel good as an RTS player, right? When you're like, oh no, I'm playing like every Gold League player in the world. Oh no, I'm just building towers everywhere. This feels really uncomfortable, man. And just losing more units, being under pressure, while LucifroN also gets a 4th base up. I mean, Kelazhur is keeping pace with him in the economy, but I don't think he's got much Therium or tech up yet. Whereas LucifroN is like, oh, I have a big everything economy. I got good Therium, good Luminite, and I've got complete and utter map control. So there's also like a psychological damage thing that happens where you're like, well, I see nothing, so I don't know what's going on as Kelazhur. I'm just kind of guessing. And I also feel like I don't really have control or my finger on the pulse of the game. Whereas LucifroN's like, oh, we're roaring, man. I get to pick and choose where I attack you, where the harassment happens. I've now got the repair station up here. He's just kicking butt.
I love the repair station, man. Like the way that people have synced that up with the hangar, so when you return to base, you just repair way faster. He's using it for his Vulcans as well. Remember, that just takes a bob in it, can repair all your mech units, not your bio, silly DeMu. But now we've got 2 Vulcans on the field, some Lancers as well. I'm very curious about what his end game comp is going to be, because I see a lot of barracks here pumping out units.
Dude, I can't wait to see LucifroN versus Parting. I'm already so excited. Because it's just, these are the 2 players we've had. I mean, there's a few others as well, but these 2 especially, it feels like the timings they're hitting are so sharp. It's like it's just so much quicker than anyone else has really figured out. Like the detail of their build orders and their transitions are so smooth. We've already got Medtech Vulcan Lancer coming in. Double evac there, which I guess he's going to use to drop Sky Mines. So then the Hornets will run back and use the Sky Mines to blow up the Shadow Flyers. This is really, really fancy.
It really is fancy. I mean, this is a lot of tech. It's such a different style of Vanguard. Most people are so committed to getting out that ground army, and you see here, not too many connections going down. LucifroN's he's making this look so easy, but so cool at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, the utilization of all the different units, their strengths, their abilities is great. Look at that. Nano Swarm goes down, heals in an AoE around that. All of the mech units nearby get healed. Does not heal bio units, but they're regular heal. You can see the little green healing on the Lancers is like just a little mini heal, kind of like a medic or a medevac or anything, or like a priest in Warcraft dropping heal. The Vulcans on the ledge with their 8 range now are very scary units. You can't really fight on the ledge as Kelazhur. Remember, Gaunts aren't big damage dealers. They just infest units. That's really all they do. And if you try to run in range of the Vulcan, he's going to chew you up.
I mean, these Vulcans on the low ground, they are absolutely big daddies over there. I mean, this whole army is constantly healing itself as well. And the Hornets provide a lot of air control. The Lancers are good and tanky. The Hellborn, that will definitely have something to say against this ground army. It has to be careful.
Yeah, I mean, one on its own ain't going to do that much. It's at least going to poke at them, though, right? With that range advantage, as you mentioned. The way the evacs here are just, like, shielding the Hornets, though, as well, ready to reposition units and save them with micro. This is great play. The Sky Mines are there, so Shadow Flyers can't come in. Vulcan's poking around, Medtech's healing, and Kelazhur on this cliff. I mean, you see this exposed Luminite mine. This is the whole point of contention. This is why LucifroN did this build. On this map, you have your mine exposed against a cliff, so air units can get right on top of the workers. Vulcan on the low ground with the ledge can take advantage. Kelazhur somehow has a base on the Therium on the right, but can he defend this army? It's easier said than done. Hellborn starting to come in decent numbers in the back. He's got 3 or 4 now, as well as some Magmadons coming down. Brutes coming down as well, but look at the way LucifroN spreads back into a big arc of units. And as the Magmadon comes forward, yes, it does some very good damage, but the Vulcan's charging up. The Lancer's getting Omega buffed. Look how fast those Lancers move right now. They just took a lot of Magmadon stomps, and they are angry.
They really are angry. I mean, LucifroN, a lot of these Lancers are absolutely churned up over here. Just spot this base on his retreat path, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to deal with that on the way out. I mean, those are Hellborns in the back. They have been juicy. Rodidon's coming in, stamping over all those Lancers, and Kelazhur's doing whatever he can to try and clean this up, but Those Lancers, they're angry, they're hungry, they're charging as well. Big Roddy has something to say. We'll try and shut a lot of them down, but I feel that it's just so much. LucifroN is having to run away, though, against this.
Kelazhur's playing like a beast, though. The fact that he's hanging on, I thought he was dead there. He's taken out most of the Vulcans and Medtechs here as well. A couple Medtechs do get away. The Hornet's still alive. I'm very impressed that Kelazhur survived. Yeah, that was... Damn, man. He's been on the edge of defeat for a while now, and LucifroN is still expanding, still attacking. He will deny this Therium base, but he's having to work for it. So Kelazhur, I gotta say, props to him for hanging on as well as he is, getting these Hellborn out. And we've seen so many people, when the fight turns south, all the Hellborn die and it's game over. He was like pulling them back at the right time. Yeah, he loses a base. Yes, he's quite far behind, but definitely exceeding expectations and playing a very, very good game of Stormgate. Is Kelazhur. LucifroN, though, he's in control.
He really is in control, and he's using an army that we haven't really seen utilized like this, right? Like the Medivacs as well, especially. But now he's adding on a lot more Exos. His army didn't really truly have that back line besides the Vulcans. The Exos will help a lot with that, which is being an extra damage dealer. And he's expanding like crazy behind all this as well. Like absolute craziness. He's taken the middle base now. This is no longer going to be a split map scenario. He is playing this like a Zerg.
Yeah, this is so fascinating to see how this goes. I mean, the Hornets are still being a nuisance. Every now and then we see one die, but it feels like Lucy has still been building them occasionally. He's just like, nah, yeah, just throw in the occasional Hornet, keep them mixed in, and that means you need to keep mixing in the Shadow Flyers as well. Shroudstone struggling to get up on the front line. Hellborn going to try and do some damage. The Nano Swarm's so good at buffing those Hornets. Hellborn making this a bit scary. The Magnon's getting the center of the army. Stompy Stomp does some decent damage, but you can't lose your Hellborn. There's a few more Hellborn on the left. Great repositioning here by Kelazhur. Oh, the Hornets are diving. One Hellborn looks like it will almost go down. It barely survives. Great positioning and micro by Kelazhur. Super Turret does go down, though, and he doesn't have a lot of anti-air left. He's going to need to pop out some Shadow Flyers and get rid of those Hornets. They're just such a problem unit for him right now.
They really are, and LucifroN going for some very, very forward turret here and a command post pick. I mean, that is adventurous to say the least. I feel that he's having fun this game, but I'm curious because against that number of Hellborns, he definitely needs something else, right?
Yeah, no, this is great. He's taking that base in the middle. Kelazhur's going to try to take the base next to it, but there's no way that gets up. LucifroN's still got map control and mobility. Forces all the cancels. Says 5 free imp kills. I'll take it. The exo count's still very low. I wouldn't mind there being like 10, 12 exos in the back. And still no sentinels on the map just yet. Just the evac Hornet. Interesting, we haven't seen much of the sentinel in the latest patch. It just seems like the other units are getting a bit more value right now. Nano Swarm's on the Hornets. The Lancer's taking some big Hellborn shots. Kelazhur's got to get out of there, though. Those Hellborns starting to fall at the front of that army, but double power Shroudstone on the right side, and only one Hellborn falls. Keeping those Hellborn alive, they are the lifeline, the thread from which Kelazhur is hanging on. But LucifroN, seeing him hanging on by that thread, is trying with his scissors to chop it. He's stomping on his hands if he's hanging on the edge of a cliff. And I think Kelazhur's feeling a little bit like Mufasa in that scene when he's trying to climb out of that bloody valley after that goddamn stampede, man.
I like the Lion King reference. I mean, this is lots of Hornets now. Lots of just LucifroN coming in. I mean, the Hornets, they are taking down those Hellborn over in the back there. And I mean, that really takes the wind out of Kelazhur's sails, doesn't it? I see lots of brutes popping out, but what are they going to do against this much firepower over here?
That's brutal. Nice play there. Kelazhur put up a very good fight, but LucifroN with the fantastic abuse of the ledge. Air comes in, hits the ledge, starts picking things off, and we saw there, if you're playing Gaunts, you gotta have the quick parting drop so you can save those Gaunts. And remember in the parting game, the secret was, because it was the same thing, it was 5 Gaunts run into a Hornet in the middle of the map. But in the parting game, it was 5 in a tight cluster. Kelazhur, his Gaunts were a little spread out, 2 of them were stragglers. So he kind of was like, oh, you're here. And remember, Parting immediately shot it, and the first Gaunt that got hit immediately stutter stepped away from the Hornet. So the Hornet couldn't just keep shooting, it had to move and shoot, so it wasn't attacking constantly. And then it hopped into the Doombringer that arrived to save it at the last second. And we ended up basically seeing the Shield and the Hornet get, I think, a single Gaunt kill but then the Gaunts were like on top of his base doing damage and just cycling out of control. So Parting showed us it's possible to use the Gaunts with Doombringer Micro to take down the armor Hornet, but if you lose your first 3 or 4 Gaunts, it's like a very slippery slope.
Yeah, I mean, LucifroN, just the way that he played, and I think it's going to be Jagged more next between these two. And I mean, if there is any one comeback mechanic or comeback map, it is Jagged More for the Infernal player. And we've seen craziness ensue on this map, and we're yet to really see a Vanguard win, like, at all. So, in a matchup like this, where I'm absolutely favoring LucifroN, very curious what he's going to whip out here.
Yeah, no, it makes it kind of exciting, doesn't it? We're like, well, this map hasn't gone well for the Vanguard players. I mean, it's funny though, because like Kiwian clearly his build, something went wrong with it. We don't know what, it just went terribly. Probe, I think, said he was having a little bit of lag in his game, was having struggle, like placing his tower sentry post didn't go down when he thought it did or something like that. And, you know, the Vanguard pro players, even though the stats say it's very hard for them to win, they've been like, oh no, we can win this map. Like it's tough. We don't feel like it's super fair, but we actually feel like we are making, mistakes that are losing us the game. So it's been interesting to hear them think, oh, most of these games have still been in the realm of possibility, unless you're playing like Parting, the very best Infernal players. Then it becomes very scary, but it's scary playing those guys on any map. So I think it'll be interesting to see what goes down and what he has in store for us. Are we allowed to race switch in this tournament in the middle of a series? Do we know if there's rules on that?
I mean, I have no idea. In StarCraft 2, it's very much like, there's rules against it kind of thing, because it messes up the whole veto process.
Depending on the tournament, though, some tournaments just let you YOLO it, right? Raynor did that a bunch of times.
Raynor did do it, but it was primarily like Home Story Cups and stuff. When it was like the more quote-unquote professional stuff, it was like, no, Raynor, you're playing Zerg, and you have to tell your opponents beforehand as well, as opposed to race switch is allowed, alrighty. So, yeah,
he is allowed to race switch if he wants to. We've got that confirmation. So if you want to, LucifroN could be like, yeah, I practiced Infernals for this map. Lol, let's do it. Yeah, I know Raynor did it at 1 or 2 DreamHacks. They let him do it. Like I remember him taking down Solar in group stages, but he'd always swap back for the bigger matches for the most part. And it was like a few online tournaments he'd play Protoss vs Zerg and stuff like that rather than Zerg vs Zerg. But looks like LucifroN's sticking with his main race, not doing any memes. And if anyone's going to show us what you're meant to do here to stop those siege pushes, Lucy will be our man. Kelazhur in the bottom right, LucifroN in the top right. LucifroN from Spain, Kelazhur from Brazil. And looks like Kelazhur is going to go and get his first structure down there, walling off the ramp out front of his natural expansion.
And very quick on the Therion this game as well. So this isn't going to be what he did in the previous game, where it's like, goes for the fast expansion, the 4 guys on Bob, and then the 4 guys off his Illuminate to go onto the Therion early on. It's
Do you think it's one base Hornet then? Like it's like the same? Oh, it is. He's already upgrading. Oh my god, he's going one base Hornet.
I mean, that's cool, eh? That's really cool.
Yeah, well, we saw people try to go expansion into Hornet defense, and they were never in time, right? In the previous games we watched today. So it kind of makes sense. It's like, all right, yeah, just get the Hornets out really fast. It's a massive commitment. I mean, LucifroN's Luminite income sucks. He doesn't have an expansion. But if he can get in, kill a few Gaunts, do that kind of snowball effect. And remember, the moment you get tier 2, that's what unlocks the shield. The 1,000 hit point 10-second shield, which we've seen just get so much value this week in Stormgate.
Definitely. And you can see this, how he's like balancing out his eco here, just making sure that he's got a lot on Therium. Now, where's the hangar going to be? Okay, he's got a habitat at the front. We'll need that, obviously. Oh, he ran off it. I don't know what this is about here, Piggy. I think that was a slight misclick here, but Shroudstone there, Kelazhur doing what he does, and remember, he was kind of one of the first players that we saw doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah. It's going to be fascinating to see how this evolves. I haven't seen one base Hornet against Infernal. For a while, this was the meta in Vanguard versus Vanguard when they were super cracked. Just whoever gets the first Hornet kind of wins. But that was for only a few days, like maybe 2 days before they fixed that one. And yeah, already starting the first Hornet at about 2 minutes, which means pre-3 minutes, there's going to be a Hornet, I would imagine, running into the imp line of Kelazhur, or like I imagine he's going to go for the economy. Maybe he just tries to creep jack him and get the Gaunt kills, though. We'll see where that first Hornet goes, as already the speed camp's getting infested.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I think LucifroN didn't make a mistake with that depot. kind of situation, or the habitat going down, I think he actually ran back, so the boost hit that worker as well. Then double built it with the hangar there. Very, very cool out of him. Now, I could maybe be giving him a bit too much credit there, but I think that's exactly what he was doing. He's the kind of guy that will absolutely iron out all this stuff. And first Hornet will be on the way very shortly, and we see it right there on the map.
Okay, he's going to try and creepjack him as he goes to the siege camp. This is the plan. And he's going to go after those gaunts. He's going to need to activate that bubble immediately as we expected. No point fighting that. You should run with the gaunts here, Kelazhur, because you just got to wait the 10 seconds. You're not going to do 1,000 damage in 10 seconds. There we go. It does wear off. But 2 gaunts go down. Does that really stop you from creeping it, though? I guess LucifroN's going to try and slow him down. I wonder if LucifroN just expands behind this or what the follow-up is. The chickens do, or the deer, sorry, shoots a rocket at the Hornet. He's not going to be happy with that. There is an imp on the front lines there as well. Second Hornet has arrived. LucifroN looking to interrupt this creeping process. He's doing a really good job. If he can get rid of the gaunts, they can't kite it.
He killed the imp as well. So he was trying to chop through the middle there was Kelazhur, and not going to happen. Gets back with 1 Hornet as well. He's doing a great job of denying this strat.
Oh, good thing he evac'd. If he didn't return to hangar, the infest would have finished off the Hornet there. So very good timing on him doing that. I think he got down to 6 life on the Hornet before going back to heal. Now, obviously, you can still go out and try to break that down, get the siege camp, but Kelazhur's been massively delayed. And while still on 1 base, LucifroN is giving himself an opportunity to slow down what's happening. Is he just slowing down the inevitable is the question that we have to ask ourselves.
That is the question. Veteran C comes online for a few of these units. Now, is that fully walled off there? Because, I mean,
Looks
these
like
fiends were trying to get in, and wow, nice big wall off there from LucifroN. So many, many steps ahead is LucifroN here. Those
the Hornets are
can't
still
do anything.
creep-jacking. We really, yeah, right? Or are they in the... Oh, they've gone to the natural. They're going for the shrine. They're going to take down the Shroud Stone that's building. They go for the shrine. Problem is, I think he got a hang... Oh, you know, he defended his wall with the new Hornet that came out. The Fiends had to run away. This is a great start for LucifroN, but the siege camp has been taken down, and that means there's a catapult on the way. Wait, did Kelazhur not break? Oh, he didn't finish breaking the rocks, though. So the catapult's going to go the long way around the map. I don't even know if that's going to do anything.
Oh, he was patrolling there, wasn't he? Like, he killed the first imp, and oh my god, the catapult can actually get taken out. Like, he doesn't have the Shroud Stone to support anymore. He is getting torn apart. I think this is a resources lost game of, like, 0 to 1,000 at this point. This is insane.
And I mean, you got to think about it. Kelazhur had one thing in mind, what every Infernal player does on this map, take the siege camp. And LucifroN's like, look, my build is bad against a lot of things, but it counters what you're doing. You need to show flexibility to adapt to this. You need to like get on Therium hard, tech up, get Shadow Flyers to deal with this, or go super hard into like Gaunts on 2 base. But now you don't have a chance because you were so committed to taking that camp. And what a beautiful counter from LucifroN. LucifroN is showing us just how good he is at this game. His knowledge of the builds, his reactions, his adjustments. And as I said, the most exciting thing about watching an early stage of the beta is everything's broken for both sides. You know, there's so many broken things you can take advantage of. And we're seeing how LucifroN's solving this problem in such a clever way.
He really is. He really is. And he's out of anti-air here, Piggy. He's out of anti-air totally. I mean, maybe he can get some flyers out. I don't think he can, though, can he?
No, he's in so much trouble, man. He's trying to build Shroud Stones everywhere there. He has to throw down another super turret. He gets a Hornet with it, which is something. You know, the thing is you get Animus when stuff dies. So it's like, hey, he's killing all my workers. Oh, yay, I have Animus. I can defend them now. So it saves him from complete disaster. But now LucifroN's like, that's fine. 6 minutes. This is a super late expansion. But I've got the expansion now. You're on 1 base. I'm on 2. And you're going to try to take one? No chance, buddy.
Yeah, this just goes from bad to worse at every point, doesn't it, for Kelazhur? I think he did tech up, so but he's a 1 base Infernal here that's just getting bullied, and nothing's panned out for him. And LucifroN, this is the kind of thing that he's been known to do in AoE4 as well. He's a man that does his homework, very cerebral. We talked about it earlier on. He's just a smart cookie.
Yeah, very well done here. LucifroN just killing it with the 1 base Hornet build. Very, very nicely done. And just got him completely contained and locked down. Kelazhur clearly, I don't think had experience playing against this. Otherwise, I think he would have sent a Fiend across to scout for it. And might have played a bit differently. But I think committing to the siege camp, once you know they're 1 base Hornet, you probably have to just pull back and chill on the expansion. It's kind of funny to see because basically we've cast, what do you reckon, 8, 10 games on this map? So maybe probably like 6 or 7 games on this map yesterday and today. And it's the first time we've seen this one. And we've basically just seen lots of siege pushes breaking through. The only exception being there was a sneaky Shroud Stone built on the high ground above a Vanguard player's Luminite mine, which also won against Probe one map at the start of today. But other than that, it's been super dominating.
Yeah, that's from Snockstar. It was definitely a cheeky way to get a victory there. And Kelazhur, he's done a good job of building up his Gaunt count, but getting across the map or doing anything with them, I mean, so far he's been battling to try and get up this natural, hasn't he? And I mean, he did get a scout to get to see what LucifroN is doing on his side of the map, but everything LucifroN has done has worked absolute wonders.
Beautiful play for LucifroN. The shrine starting at such a big delay. And now you've got the lovely drop coming in there. The evac, sorry, doesn't look like it has anything inside it, I guess. Maybe it's just hanging out for now for the sky bomb, the sky mine.
Could be, could be. I mean, it's also enough to put the fear of God in you at this point, isn't it? Like with how effective it was in game 1 with the Vulcan.
What if he's got a Reaver in there, Ben?
I tell you, I tell you. Okay, lots of barracks back at home for LucifroN, because I think, look how he's patrolling the map, by the way. Like, just look what he's doing. He's got air units outside of Kelazhur's base, just patrolling. He's not even using all his Hornets in this little squad. He's using the other ones just to make sure that nothing's happening. Vodka will find it if he goes to the right a little bit and above Kelazhur's base just to see what's actually up. But anyway,
yeah,
LucifroN sees absolutely everything.
Yeah, I mean, a Hornet did go down there, so that was a nice catch for Kelazhur. Something finally going his way after a game that's been quite rough. The Hornet's just hanging out, patrolling, just completely shutting down any sort of counter drop potential. Shadow Flyers now coming out. Remember, those Shadow Flyers went down from 125 splash to 50 splash damage. And we've seen LucifroN's micro is pretty tight. He's now taking the siege camp. Might take a second one as well, potentially. If you get 2 catapults together, it is super hard to stop.
I mean, one nice thing for Kelazhur is that siege camp will be back up a little bit earlier on his side of things. And I'm looking over there in the bottom left. It does look like it's up. And this is a very, very anti-air army. They're both cracking through the middle here. They're both probably not prepared for what the other one's got on the other side. But that siege tank, it looks like it's returning back over here, going for the shortest route. So nice pathing on that. It will be here for the fight. Oh, nice first shot.
Yeah, that is so scary. You got like a bunch of imps in here as well. It's like imp gaunt all in attempt from Kelazhur. And he's like, there's no way. You got a catapult. You got a giant army. I have to tap out of here. And very good to see, you know. Apparently LucifroN does this build a lot. Cool to see. He hasn't been sharing any replays at all for the last little while. So he's been hiding a lot of his builds. Maybe there were some going out if he was playing some online tournaments that we missed. But obviously we are brand new to casting this game. So for us, after watching a day of people just get destroyed by catapult pushes, that's bloody exciting. And it just shows LucifroN is on a next level of planning compared to the players that we've been watching so far. I really hope we get to see him versus Parting on that map just to see what happens.
Me too. I mean, like, if he does go up against Parting, it's obviously we have to wait all the way to the grand final for that to happen. We're going to have a lot of matches that are going to be very, very cool coming up over the next few days.